Hello, everyone. It's Diane, the massage mentor. I've been doing massage since 1996 and have not taken a paycheck from another business since. And I am here live with someone who might not know, but they're a very important part of my life. And before we start the interview, I'm going to tell her why. So I guess it was like 2 years ago, I was writing my book. Wait a minute. I was writing my book, Massage Therapist Guidebook. Look, you never even saw my book, did you?
I have not.
I was writing my book, and I would take breaks and I would walk through Rehoboth, and all of a sudden I saw this beautiful sign that said fresh juices. And not just juice, like the thing for me is sometimes you can get juices and I don't know what they make them with, but they're not fresh, organic, yummy veggies and fruits. So when I saw this place, I was in heaven. And I couldn't believe that it was it was the first time I ever saw anything like that in Rehoboth, Delaware. No offense to Delaware. I love Delaware. I go there all the time. It's a very quiet, cute little town full of all kinds of fascinating people. So I saw this place Twist. When I went in, I had some of the best smoothies of my life, and I had wonderful food. And it was something that when I went down to do my writing, I really look forward to seeing you and having your food. So this is Julie from TwistJuice Bar in Rehoboth, Delaware. And just because you're in Delaware, doesn't mean that you can't. Can we get your juices anywhere? Can they get some of your goods?
I mean, they are raw, so I could ship them, but it gets a little pricey because you got to ice pack it and you have to overnight it. So, I mean, when you have a raw product, it's best at its source.
All right. Good point. I mean, I'm just thinking big. I'm thinking big.
Yeah, I mean, like cold pressed juices that are online, those have usually been high pressure pasteurized for safety purposes. So getting raw juice is always best.
I was told to drink it when I make a smoothie or a juice, to drink it as fast as I can on those, not to let it sit too long.
Well, that is true if you have centrifugal juice. So if you see somebody make a juice like right then and there, and those loud, like I call them the zhoomy machines, where like they throw the pulp in, or they throw the juice in one side and then the pulp comes out the other. It's using a high power blade to separate the juice and the pulp, and that blade creates friction, which actually heats up the juice and burns off some of the vitamins, minerals, and enzymes that make it raw and healthy. It also oxidizes it a little bit, which is why I get that like frothiness in the cup. And it's like, a bunch of ice, a bunch of foam, and a little bit of juice. So that juice you want to drink as fast as possible because it's like on its way out. Not to say there's not some nutritional value in it, but cold pressing is just a whole different technique that maintains all the vitamins and minerals, and it also creates a shelf-stable juice, so you don't have to chug it the second that it is made. You have a couple of days to get all of its nutrient value, and it's a more nutrient-dense and better tasting product.
Very. See, look, already I've already learned something that I didn't know. So thank you very much. So tell us a little bit about Twist.
So Twist is a vegan, really like 98.5% vegan, honestly. We have whey protein and honey, but it's a vegan vegetarian cafe in downtown Rehoboth. What's cool about us is that we are one of the few places where there are more vegan vegetarian options than not. It's hard to find things like that around this area. I mean, we're just very like seafood centric, which is cool. But most places you go to is like, if you are vegan or vegetarian, it's like you're ending up with a salad or a bunch of sides. We're getting a little bit more progressive, but in terms of cold pressed juice, we are one of the first people in the state of Delaware to have cold pressed juice. So that's kind of like our claim to fame at this point. The vegan side of it and the fact that we're cold pressed.
So you're not just famous in Rehoboth. You're famous in the entire state of Delaware.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we got some press for that. I mean, that's the thing about Delaware. It's cute, it's quaint, but it is like 5 years behind all the trends. So, if you have an idea or if you've lived in a city and you want to bring it down, it eventually will catch on. Juicing something that I've been interested in since I was in college, and I went to University of Delaware, and the majority of the student population seemed to come from New York. And that was back in the early 2000s when, juicing was already gaining traction at that point. but still had not made his way down to Delaware. So after, after being 20 and not ready to settle down or start like my own business, living some life and living in New York a little bit and getting some hands-on experience, I brought the concept down to Rehoboth. It's just something that I've been rolling around on my plate since, my early 20s. So here we are doing the darn thing. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, it's really brave. I remember the first couple times I came in, I was like, because there is an off season in Rehoboth, and I'm like, I sure hope that this woman is here because I need her. I need her all year round. So I'm really excited that everything worked out. So again, I mean, you went a little bit into it, but kind of how did it all happen? You're like, I mean, you just start. Have you been someone that's gone to Rehoboth a lot through their lives? Or?
No, actually, not at all. I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, but my parents are from Chicago, so we always went to the shore. Went to Jersey. We never grew up going down to Delaware beaches. I don't know why, I just didn't. But it was always the cool thing to do. Like once you're in high school, you spend your senior week down in Dewey or Rehoboth. And I did some traveling after college, corporate job, hated it. Did some traveling. And then when I came back, I decided that I wanted to spend a summer at the beach because I had never actually done that. And that's what everybody from up north did at some point. So I came down to Rehoboth. I fell in love with it. Working in the food industry. So I've been in the food industry, for the better part of 15 years. 15 years.
So you started when you were 1.5.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm 3.
It's all that juice.
That juice. Keeps me fresh. And so just always being kind of a foodie, definitely. And then you get more particular about the things that you're putting into your body. And then there's the learning curve, not just about the taste and the quality of it, but where is all this coming from and how does it make me feel? And the older you get, the more in tune and hopefully the more you listen to your body. Because when you're young, you don't care. You do whatever you want. To hell with the consequences. But there's a lot more literature out there now. And people are waking up to how important food is, not just for fueling your body, but for keeping you healthy in the long run and in the short term. So I moved to Rehoboth, back and forth with some traveling, ended up in New York. And then when I was in New York, I spent a couple of years up there. I worked in the juice industry. I learned about cold pressing specifically. A little more about just the vegan, vegetarian food world. And then coming back to Rehoboth, I was like, well, it's do or die. Like, I was thinking about this for so long. Let's just give it a whirl. And I knew it was something that we needed. And that
definitely
people want to come to the beach and be on vacation, but they also want to feel good. I think there's definitely been a change from just overindulging to wanting to feel healthy on vacation too. It's like, it's cool if you want to go to have a bottle of wine at happy hour, or you want to have that like one splurge meal, but it's like you're in your bathing suit every day. Like there's people out there jogging, getting up early, going to the gym. Like they want to feel restored and relaxed. They don't want to feel like they need a vacation from their vacation. Like I feel like that's the younger side of us. Like when we're in our 20s or in our early 30s and you just want to go rage, and that's your vacation. And now people have a more adult perspective on it where they want to go feel rejuvenated and relaxed. And a lot of that has to do with things that you're putting in your body. I mean, you're not going to feel, good after eating Thrasher's French fries and Grotto's pizza, even though we all love it on occasion. And then you're going to stick yourself in your bikini and then go to happy hour and drink 5 margaritas. Like it's a recipe for disaster. So we needed a healthy option down here, especially for those of us that are down here year round, that, this isn't vacation for us. Like this is our everyday life. We don't want to be eating that stuff all the time. So now I
personally don't want to be eating it when I'm down there, and I'm down there a lot. One of the things,
there's people that are down there the whole summer, and it's not just a vacation. It's like people that are snowbirds that go to Florida. It's like they're just changing the location of their life. They're not trying to change how they're living their life. They're just in a different place. So there's that part too.
And this is primarily a page from massage therapist. But one of the things that I put in my book, and I think is really, really, really important, is part of being a good kind of, or at least a mindful anything, is what you put in your body matters. And I think what you said too really made a lot of sense, and something that I believe wholeheartedly. When I went to nutrition school, one of the things they said, and to always pay attention to how you feel 30 minutes after you eat, right? And then you'll be able to tell what food's doing for you, that it's fuel, that it's not just something to fill yourself up, that you need it to operate as a mindful, healthy, happy human being. So I really love how you touched on that, and I agree 125,000, well, 125,000% for that. How about that? Okay, so I have a question. What do you think, and what do you think the biggest misconception is about being vegan or vegetarian, or even being someone who eats a little bit of everything, and all that kind of stuff? Like, what do you think the misconception is of let's just say a healthy lifestyle as far as food goes?
Well, I'd like to touch on the misconception of being vegan, because I think it's such a catchword now. Everybody's like, oh, it's organic, so it must be the best for me. But if something's vegan, they're like, ew. I'm like, why? Like, I don't understand how, you can have such a far disconnect in these catchwords when they're both supposed to be leading towards a healthy lifestyle. I just find it so very interesting. People just assume that vegan is super, super, super limited. That nothing can be delicious if it's vegan, that, an entire world's just gone to them if they're only plant-based. And it's so boring, and it's like they're left with nothing but salads. And that's a huge misconception. And it's a misconception I had too. I mean, you're essentially relearning how to eat for the majority of us who grew up in an omnivore setting where you have traditions passed down from generations and different recipes, and it's the holidays and you eat ham or lamb or turkey or whatever it is. And it's like, what do you do if you don't eat those things? Or how do you replace like your favorite foods in a vegan, healthier way? And I think that's the big misconception, is that it can be done, and it can be delicious, and it can be enjoyable, and it doesn't have to be this like painful thing and this like hardcore conversion, and that you don't have to be this like hardcore, super like strict person to be vegan. It's just you're more mindful of the things that you're putting in your body. And that can be true if you're vegetarian or pescatarian, or if you are an omnivore. It's just, the proper sourcing of food and figuring out where it's coming from, how it's made, and where your food has gone and what has gone into your food before it's going into you.
And for me, you and I were talking earlier, and I'm primarily vegan, but if I am like, oh my God, I feel like I'm on the show Naked and Afraid. Have you ever seen that show? And they don't eat meat for like days and days, and then all of a sudden they're like, protein. So once in a while I get like, I need something. But now I know, at least if I am going to do that I have to find something, that comes from somewhere good. But it's some hamburger. If I grab a hamburger that's really pink, it might not just be really pink on its own, right? Stuff like that. So where I choose
25 seconds.
So I choose, if I choose to wander outside of my little vegan vegetarian box, I choose products that are reliable or come from a good source, or that I know are good for me, so that when I eat them, I feel okay. I don't feel worse than I did before I ate.
Right.
Like, I think that's another thing I just thought of. Well, I know what you think, but I should feel a little better after I eat instead of worse, right?
I mean, you should, yeah. I remember plenty of meal growing up where you just want to eat all the things. And like, I remember gorging myself as a child at these like brunch buffets because I wanted to eat all of it. It's like such an American thing. And I felt like rubbish afterwards. You're like so lethargic, you're so bogged down, your body can't handle the amount of food that you put into it, or the combination of food that you put into it. Or you eat, one of my favorites when I lived in New York was a breakfast sandwich, like a bagel breakfast sandwich. And they have done studies where they actually found out that like one New York bagel is the equivalent of a loaf of bread. That's ridiculous, but it's delicious. And at the time you're like, oh my God, I love everything about this. But then you feel terrible for like a solid 24 hours afterwards, and like super dehydrated. And I'm like, at some point you just have to make the decision, like, I don't want to feel like this again. Like it's not worth the 20-minute meal enjoyment to feel gnarly for like 24 to 48 hours. It's like, it's not worth it. The payoff.
Full agreement. Yeah. And that's one of the things I've always thought of too. It's like, one, your body has to work so hard to break it all down, that your brain's like in a fog. And your body's like, what are you doing? I want this to work. What are you doing? I want this to work, So like you said, you're in a little bit out of it for a while. And for me, that's one thing. And then too, you have the people that will eat something like a brownie. Ooh, what's the best brownie ever? And you get that like, oh, it's so good for a little while, or eat something bad, and they're like, oh. And then after they eat it, then they beat themselves up for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Right? So I always pictured them like this, like when your body's like this, I ruined myself. It's really hard for anything to digest when you're really upset or stressed out about what you ate.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, if you're going to eat it,
embrace it.
Embrace that shit.
Embrace it.
Enjoy it, roll around in it, and just let it go.
If you're gonna give yourself that indulge, make sure that it's worth the indulging.
No, you're going for it.
Don't just pick up whatever piece of chocolate's laying there, that nasty 5-cent piece of chocolate. Splurge, get a $5 chocolate bar, and really make sure you're getting that good stuff. Yeah, let your body enjoy it and be able to digest it. Like you said, own it. Nothing wrong with that.
Because we're getting off track, but I gotta go. So the cacao. So cacao is the rawest form of chocolate, right? It's high in magnesium. The reason that a lot of women crave chocolate at menstrual cycles is because of the magnesium, because they're about ready to let go of some blood. So the body normally craves things that it needs. But if you don't get a chocolate bar that has a lot of cacao in it, you're not going to fill that need, right? You're going to keep looking for more chocolate because you don't have enough cacao or magnesium or whatever. That chocolate was such a rich thing. It was I think they used it as money cacao back in the day because it was so high in nutrients and such a sacred food.
And antioxidants too.
And antioxidants. So there's so much good stuff out there that you could do and get and would be good for you, and you still get that little buzz, right?
Well, the natural form. So that's, and again, that goes back to the fact that we're kind of blowing the lid off the food industry. Back in the day, it was necessary. It literally goes back to World War II. We have all these canned foods. Then you have mothers entering the workforce. You need fast foods. You need pre-prep foods, frozen foods. All these things led to the kind of fast food economy we're so used to having. I mean, you look at people back in 40s, 50s, 60s, they were smoking and drinking and having perfectly healthy babies.
At lunch.
Yeah, at lunch. Ripe old ages, but their food was not nearly as processed as what it is now. And we've converted that because it's big business. And so just this is off topic, but it's the same thing. Pharmaceuticals and keeping people healthy enough that they're still sick, but not fully healed. That's big business too. And so we have to be aware that, not everybody has our best interest in mind, and we have to be looking out for ourselves, through the choices that we make. And the very first place to do that is by what we're putting into our bodies.
And as a massage therapist, it's crucial to have your body. You got to have a really good relationship with your body to help other people with their bodies. So the more you can learn about food, which is, again, why I have the lovely Julie, owner of Twist Juice Bar in Rehoboth, with me today, because I just think that it's just so important. Okay, so what is your favorite food and why?
It's a hard one, actually, because I just went through a very, very strict vegan stint, and it felt really good. And I found the one thing I gravitated towards a lot was avocado.
Avocado. I had a feeling.
Well, I also did the vegan keto thing, because why not make it a little bit more but I know I was that girl. But hemp seeds on avocado with some Himalayan sea salt, it fills you. There's so many healthy fats that fuel your body in such an efficient way, and it's fast. I don't always want to sit down and eat a salad. I love a great salad, but being that I make cold pressed juice, I can drink a 5-pound salad in 30 seconds via one of my juices. Done. All my nutrients, all my green nutrients, done and done. So when I eat something, I want to make sure that I'm really getting into it, but sometimes I don't have a ton of time to sit down and make a whole huge meal. So being able to have that avocado on hand. And you can eat avocados with all the things. So I have to say, I I'm going to say two things. Avocados and hemp seeds are probably like my main two, because they're a great source of fats. They're a great source of vitamins and nutrients, but also protein.
And I think too that you know, a lot of the old school mentality, and maybe it's changing. Is I know that for a long time I didn't have enough good fat in my diet, and now I'm all about some avocados and hemp seeds. You know, so it's, you know, finding good foods that are good for you, and you need fat, right? You need it. So
you need healthy fats. Yeah, and it keeps you. It's like when they say eating a bunch of fiber keeps you fuller longer. Eating good fats keeps you fuller longer, and I'm all about, you know, less is more.
Yeah. So, okay. So where are we now? What was the greatest lesson, you know, because I think we're going to run parallel, you know, with our industry and yours to a degree. What is the greatest lesson that you've learned since you've become a small business owner?
So many lessons.
Right? It's hard to keep track of them all. It really is.
Yeah. I think it's definitely, it's learning to accept help. I think most business owners become business owners because we're type A. It's like we want to have control of all the things. And that's one of the things that lures us to entrepreneurialism, but you can't do all the things all the time. So it's like hiring your weaknesses and learning to accept help when you need it, even if it's something that you.
Oh my God, I love it.
Like even when it's something you can act. It's a time thing, and your time is so precious because you have to do all the things. So if somebody's like, hey, let me take this off your plate, like don't be too hard-headed or too stubborn, too proud, and be like, please take this off your plate and thank you.
And also, please let me understand how you've been successful. Like, so much of my success has been by listening to other people who have traveled the road before me and then shared some things with me. It was a long time in my life where I was like, I'm fine. You know, and then after doing it for a while, you're like, I might be smart, but I am crazy. You know, it's hard. It's hard.
Sharing is a big part of it too. I think people that once you become a business owner, you know, there's this, well, aren't you upset that there's this other juice bar down the street? I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, we're all in this together. And the more people that can spread awareness of what we're doing or bring people to downtown Rehoboth, you know, the better it is for all of us. So it's also not looking at everybody as your competition, but becoming a community and sharing the knowledge base that you have. I think that's a big learning thing too, not being straight competition all the time.
I agree. As the massage industry has grown and more people have found out about it, it's just been good for everyone. So I mean, I liked you before, Julie, but now, I mean, after just talking to you like this on live on Facebook, I'm starting to like you more. I think that's a great way to be, and it's probably why you're successful, and I'm 100% certain will continue to be. So what is the biggest, and then we're going to need to wrap up soon, but what's the biggest change that you've noticed since you kind of in your life, since you started to just like change your, I mean, I think we went over it, but do you want to elaborate any more on that stuff?
Of like my eating, biggest change?
Yeah, since you changed your eating and kind of.
Definitely, I mean, I hate to say it, but the most obvious thing is definitely weight loss. People are like, man, you know, what happened? But I've noticed it in my skin. I've noticed it in my energy levels. Like if I don't get my certain amount of greens, my face is just like blah, which I never was able to control that. I just assumed it was hormonal and there was nothing I could do, but it's greens all day, baby. As long as I get those greens in, like I'm good to go. But just more of like an even flow of digestion. I don't feel tired after my meals ever. I just feel more aligned with my body, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's funny. I'm not the kind of person where, like, you know, sure, there's certain things I eat and my stomach is a little upset with me, but I can pretty much eat whatever I want and get away with it. I'm lucky in that sense. So if I do slip off my diet, you know, I don't pay for it for days and days the way that other people do, but I can definitely tell that I don't want to slip from my diet because I feel better doing what I'm doing. And those cravings have gone away for the things like, you know, I had a Shake Shack burger like a year ago and I was like, I don't ever need to eat this again. Like I can just cross that off my list. I'm good. You know?
Delete delete.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny,
Done.
it's interesting to start looking at food that way and thinking about like, do I really need to ever have this again? And you're like, I don't. I don't need this. My body definitely doesn't need it. And so knowing that your body doesn't need it and kind of having that acceptance level, it feels good. It feels like you're listening to yourself for once.
Well, if anybody is in Delaware, in Rehoboth, which I will be in November with some of my favorite massage people, Michael Buck will be in Rehoboth, Delaware in November teaching a class. His friend Sarah Fema will be there teaching a class with him. So there'll be a bunch of us down there in November. So I'm going to make sure that we all come for lunch, but I'm sure I'll see you before. And I just want to say thank you so much for, I mean, what a brave act to kind of be on the forefront of this whole change in Delaware. I mean, it's very admirable. I think it's really cool, and I'm proud to kind of be a part of the first couple smoothies, and I'll be excited as I watch it grow. So just before we go, could you just tell us exactly where you are, and then too, you have some changes coming up.
Yeah, so I am on the corner of Wilmington Avenue and First Street. So downtown Rehoboth, most people are familiar with the First Street station, which has the White House Black Market.
So pretty.
Yeah, and now it's has Cooter Browns up top, but it's the old Hooters. If you walk through, from Rehoboth Avenue over to Wilmington Avenue, we're right there on the corner. And we are coming up with some changes. So I'm expanding and taking the space next to me over, and we're building a hot kitchen, so we'll have more food options, kind of that whole like Buddha bowl. We are going to do some
excited.
Yeah, so I'm adding some non-vegan proteins just because some people just want like chicken on the salad. But to the point, I'm trying to keep everything. I am keeping everything clean, properly sourced, and so you're going to get that like organic, non-antibiotic, no hormone-free chicken, like that kind of stuff. So.
Right.
Quality ingredients. So I hope not to offend my vegans. I'm going to keep all of my stuff to the point where there's going to be no cross-contamination.
This vegan's cool with it.
I'm just saying, I mean,
if I want a piece of chicken, I'm going to
years and years of not eating that, and then like something touches like chicken fat, like you're going to feel it. So I'm going to make sure that everybody's safe.
Good.
They're in a safe space still.
Good. Well, I put your website up at the bottom of the page. Feel free to check it out and contact Julie if you have any questions. And again, thank you very much for your time. Thanks. I'm going to end the broadcast here. If you would hang tight, I'd love to talk to you for a minute after. And again, this is Diane, the massage mentor. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit more about food and the importance of putting good things in your body so that you're able to concentrate and work even better with your clients. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.
Bye.